welcome to another episode of Wild Heritage. Today it's Barnyard with Becca instead of Backyard, because we are going to be talking about these Scottish Highlander calves. I've given them piles of hay and grain to keep them occupied while I talk about them, so excuse them as they walk around exchanging piles of hay and grain. I have here Brave and Heart. Brave and Heart are named that after the famous movie made about their home country. What home country would that be? Scotland, of course. So these are Scottish Highlander calves, and Scottish Highlanders are actually cows that were wild native to Scotland. They have a lot of really cool adaptations about them that made them able to survive just right in Scotland. They have these two layers of hair. They have this really long layer on top and a really soft, fuzzy layer underneath. The really long layer on top is really oily, kind of like sheep's wool, and it repels water and snow whenever it falls on them so that it doesn't get to their skin so they don't get cold. But then this fuzzy underlayer is really warm to the touch, and wow, it's really warm. And they keep that for insulation in the cold winters. Having that said, they're built for the rainy and cold winters of Scotland, so sometimes our hot days here are a lot for them, so that's why I'm having to talk over a fan, so the fan's blowing on them so they can keep cool. Anyways, in Scotland, for those rainy days and those snowy winters, this fur is perfect. Another Scottish adaptation are these horns you see here. So these are just 1-year-old calves, so they do not have the big, huge horns like they would get when they're adults, but a grown bull could have 4 feet across horns. That's really big. And what those would be for is actually so that they could forage in the snow by shoveling up the snow with their horns, and then they could find the grass underneath all of the inches and inches and inches of snow so that they were still able to get their food in the winter when they were wild. So the Scottish people noticed the hardiness of this cow and decided, hey, we should domesticate these cows because they're already used to our environment and survive well in it. And they already are docile by nature. So this is the cow that the Scottish decided to domesticate. It was good for meat, it was good for milk, and this hair could be used as yarn. So they would take this and shave it off and spin it for yarn. So this cow is used for a lot of different things. So naturally, when the Scottish came over to the Americas, they brought their hardy little cows with them that were perfect for the hills. If you know anything about Scottish history, when the immigrants come over, they didn't necessarily want to see and live with a bunch of English people. So when they hit New England, they just kept wanting to go further south. They didn't want to live with a bunch of people in New England from the very England they were trying to escape. So they kept going further south until they hit the Appalachian Mountains, which looked a lot like their homeland of Scotland. And these Scottish Highlander cows fit in perfectly. So they remained a popular breed because they were perfect for the Appalachian Mountains. Today they are a livestock conservancy heritage breed because of our ancestors who used them so importantly. They thrived on the hills of Appalachia, they thrived through the cold winters, and they thrived through the rainy summers. And that's why they were perfect for small farmers from Scotland, and in the US. But other people in the US decided that, hey, those little cows are really cool and they're really efficient. And so they became pretty popular in the 1880s and actually are the first breed of cattle to have a record book about their breed. So you think of this red hair when you think of a Scottish Highlander, but there are Scottish Highlanders with black hair, white hair, brindle hair, and yellow hair, and there's all different kinds. But today, they are not quite as popular. In fact, their numbers are kind of declining because it's much easier to use big old Jersey cows for milk or Angus cattle for beef. These guys, aren't quite as large. And so these guys are typically preserved today just for their history. And so we want to have them here to show this is the cow that our ancestors bred for their needs. And so we think, just as it's important to show the tools and items that our ancestors used to get by every day, it's important to show the animals that they used to get by every day, even if they are a little rambunctious.